Hey guys, welcome back. This is Radiv here. Yeah, so we're gonna do a really hard thing today, and if you've already read the title, then you're gonna know what I'm doing. I'm gonna read out and thank each one of you guys for the subscribe, because it really means a lot to me, and I think I should dedicate the same amount of time that you dedicate to me by reading back your subscribes and how much I appreciate them. So yeah, um, do tell me if you're not in this list, because quite a lot of people will be left out because it's what YouTube deems as legit channels, whatever that means, which means they might have to have some major activity or something. I don't know. Like you have to have some activity of some kind for a bit. I have no clue. Also, I'm gonna start reading them out though. Thank you, Carlos Francisco Alvarez Morales, for subscribing. It means a lot, man. Thank you, 1,070. Oh, no, 10,073 for the subscribe. It means a lot. Thank you, Quang Song Nagayan, for the subscribe. Thank you, Hajuf, for the subscribe. It means a lot, man. Thank you, Sif Edin Gwinifi, for the subscribe. Thank you, Martha Munoz, for the subscribe. Thank you, Caitlin Halverson, for the subscribe. It means a lot. Thank you, iRails, for the subscribe. Thank you, Zhepska Bielska, for the subscribe. I don't even know. I can't even. I don't want to take the time to read that. Thank you, Maureen Woodtech, for subscribe. Thank you, Roby. It's probably meant to be Ruby, but I'm gonna say Roby and Camacho for the subscribe. Thank you, Muhammad Keshifan, for the subscribe. Thank you, M. DeFuria. Thank you, Mika Ogard. Thank you, Trix, for the subscribe. Thank you, Felici Pluto, for the subscribe. Thank you, Olivia McGuire, for the subscribe. Thank you, Martin Hernandez, for the subscribe. Thank you, Josh Bellin, for the subscribe. Thank you, Tom Perez, for the subscribe. Oh my god. Thank you, Layla Hadiskia, for the subscribe. Sorry, I kind of butchered that one. Thank you, Alexander Dujardin, for the subscribe. Thank you. I can tell that's not even a Russian name. But thank you, that guy, this guy right here, for the subscribe. Thank you, Susan Reed, for the subscribe. Thank you, Last King, Last King King. Appreciate it. Thank you, Alex Hakes. Appreciate it. Thank you, IGV Boy. Appreciate the subscribe. Thank you, Tommy Vu. I appreciate the subscribe. Thank you, Ben Scott, for the subscribe. Thank you, Brian Lopez, for the subscribe. Thank you, Jacob Payne, for the subscriber. Thank you, Letzer787, for the subscribe. Thank you, Burgle Berber, for the subscribe. Thank you, Richard Tapia, for the subscribe. Thank you, my trustworthy mod, Hunter Jackson, for the subscribe. Thank you, John Lamas, for the subscribe. Awesome name. Thank you, Professor X, for the subscribe. Thank you, Hamilphil for the subscribe. Thank you, Derek Kodriet, for the subscribe. Thank you, Nathalie Russell, for the subscribe. Oh my god. Thank you, Sam Forrester, for the subscribe. Thank you, Artiferia58, for the subscribe. Thank you, Talia Patrick, for the subscribe. Thank you, Dirt Master 22, for the subscribe. Thank you, Melanie Samora, for the subscribe. Thank you, I can't read management, but thank you for subscribe anyways. Thank you, Tina Duguid, for the subscribe. Thank you, Alexander Nikaj, for the subscribe. Thank you, Lupita Garza, for the subscribe. Appreciate it. Thank you, INSPGP, for the subscribe. Thank you, Lucia Vera, for the subscribe. Thank you, Travis John Armstrong Campbell. Long name, but thank you for the subscribe. Oh, that was kind of more recently, too. Thanks. Thank you, Braden Eldon, for the subscribe. Thank you, Ray Cohen, for the subscribe. Thank you, Durjude Kevin, for the subscribe. Thank you, Quentin Moore, for the subscribe. Thank you, German Arias, for the subscribe. Thank you, Cameron Carter, for the subscribe. Thank you, Mayet Cape, for the subscribe. Thank you, Isaac Peach, for the subscribe. God. Thank you, 205283 Mad, for the subscribe. Thank you, Eduthi Tuya, for the subscribe. Thank you, LeBron23023, for the subscribe. Thank you, Samuel Manucci for the subscribe. Thank you, Crystal Hernandez for the subscribe. Thank you, Noel Hickey for the subscribe. Thank you, Yi Lin for the subscribe. Thank you, Sammy Smelly Feet for the subscribe. Thank you, Jenny Blackburn, Camden's mother, for the subscribe. Thank you, Christopher Chiofala for the subscribe. Thank you, Zebsk Poskim for the subscribe. Thank you, Luis Sagastum for the subscribe. Thank you, Brian Jaus Pez. Thank you, Boo Boy Morales for the subscribe. Thank you, Ellie Marcona for the subscribe. Thank you, Iballistic Turtle for the subscribe. Thank you, Inuk Thomas for the subscribe. Thank you, Coolman for the subscribe. Thank you, Azozo Sultan for the subscribe. Thank you, Billy Cage for the subscribe. Oh my god. Y'all are killing my throat. But I love you guys. Keep subscribing so I can do this more. Actually, I don't want to do this if I get like fucking 10,000. Thank you, Jake Michael for the subscribe. Thank you, Jennifer Wimsat for the subscribe. Thank you, the Gaming Toddler for the subscribe. Thank you, Burek Saheen for the subscribe. Thank you, Paz Colorado for the subscribe. Thank you, Samir Larby for the subscribe. Thank you, Mindkid for the subscribe. Thank you, Faux Shizzle for the subscribe. Thank you, Colette Wilson for the subscribe. Thank you, Mike Soul for the subscribe. Thank you, Tristan Turk for the subscribe. Thank you, Dylan Kong for the subscribe. Thank you, Colton Acklin for the subscribe. Thank you, RNCX for the subscribe. Thank you, Elite Gaming for subscribing. Thank you, Albert Einstein for the subscribe. Thank you, Ed Rebello for the subscribe. Thank you, DXBD Hernandez for the subscribe. Thank you, Janice Wells for the subscribe. Thank you, NH Horton, N Horton 2006 for the subscribe. All means a lot. Thank you, Tiffany Day for the subscribe. Thank you, Green Banana for the subscribe. Thank you, Michael Villagrana for subscribe. Thank you, Jacoby Hale the Boy for subscribing. Thank you, Gregory Gant for subscribing. Thank you, Gamer House for subscribing. Thank you, Torrance Gill for subscribing. Thank you, Listardo 92 Love for subscribing. Thank you, Lazy Pimp Daddy for subscribing. That means a lot to me. Thank you, Ethel Off Gas for subscribing. Look, we're only 120, dude. Holy crap. Thank you, Mika DuPont for the subscribe. Thank you, Morgan Ayers for subscribing. Thank you, Rachel Hertz. Thank you, Chris3 Carrot. Thank you, DCJN Gamez. Thank you, Jose Senicheros. Thank you, Tabsy Tabs. Totally legit accounts, dude. Thank you, Anthony Redner for the subscribe. Thank you, Brian Clement for the subscribe. Thank you, Ryan Galinas for the subscribe. Thank you, Jennifer Stebler for the subscribe. Thank you, Angelo Castillo for the subscribe. Thank you, McQuinn100 for the subscribe. Thank you, Carla Garcia for the subscribe. Thank you, Leslie D for the subscribe. Thank you, Mary Tuma for the subscribe. Thank you, Kevin Echan for the subscribe. Thank you, Killer Tiger 02 for the subscribe. Thank you, Tarek Ferris for the subscribe. Greetings, Callum Gaming and Vlogs. Thanks for the subscribe. Hello, Zach Brown. How's it going? Thanks for subscribe. Hello, Carson Hargrove. Thanks for subscribe. Hello, Marsha Johnson. Thank you for subscribe. Hello, A Rosa 12135. Thanks for the sub. Thank you, Alan Malek for subscribe. Thank you, David Bells for subscribe. Thank you, Anthony Gee for subscribing. Thank you, Shayla Ramirez for subscribing. Thank you, Brina Chumbly for subscribing. Thank you, Dylan Green for subscribing. Thank you, Robbie Minecraft for subscribing. Thank you, Phil Mabua for subscribing. Thank you, Catalina Gonzalez for subscribing. Thank you, Chase Smith for subscribing. Thank you, John Willamot for subscribing. Thank you, Jane Wagner. No. Thank you, Jane Wagner for subscribing. Thank you, Pomado for subscribing. Thank you, Death Killer for 1000 for subscribing. Thank you, Edward Rolls with the awesome profile picture for subscribing. Thank you, Wenzin Chun for subscribing. Means a lot, guys. Thank you Olga Rivera for subscribing. Thank you Lol Khan for subscribing. Thank you Tyler Marshall for subscribing. Thank you Debbie Paul for subscribing. Thank you Adine Donnelly for subscribing. Thank you Brett Hudson for subscribing. Thank you Rainier Bait for subscribing. Thank you Rain1227 for subscribing. Thank you Jacqueline Guzman for subscribing. Thank you Pro XX Pro Gamer XX. Thank you, Ryan Christensen, for subscribing. Thank you, Lucy Nelson, for subscribing. Thank you, Leash. Oh, get out of here, bitch. Thank you, Lesia Burnett, for subscribing. Thank you, Nor Aman Norios Izmiza, for subscribing. Thank you, Ashley Rondon, for subscribing. Thank you, Prawl Game NPK, for subscribing. Thank you, Logan Ward, for subscribing. Thank you, Adriana Bowden, for subscribing. Thank you, Connor Yu, for subscribing. Thank you, Julian Parot, for subscribing. Thank you, Widia Dara Putspita, for subscribing. Thank you, the Virtus Pro profile picture, for subscribing. Thank you, Deanna Dam, for subscribing. Thank you, Joseph Downing, for subscribing. Thanks, Maxime Fiedler, for subscribing. Thank you, Oliver Pritchett, for subscribing. Thank you, Dino Siafler, for subscribing. Thank you, iGaming. I don't know if that's a fan, but still, thanks for iGaming. Thank you, Drock Townsend. Thank you, the Sentinel 2009. Thank you, CATMC Car 82 for subscribing. Thank you, Juju Xavier, for subscribing. Thank you, Dave Kevin Watzel, for subscribing. Thank you, Christy Martin, for subscribing. Thank you, Derivish Car Saud. I don't even know. Thank you for subscribing, though. Thank you, Hans Jacob, for subscribing. Thank you, Vampire Bat, for subscribing. Thank you, Daniel Nicola, for subscribing. Thank you, Abdias Galvis, for subscribing. Thank you, Kikeshia Savage, for subscribing. Thank you, Fresh King Braun, for subscribing. Thank you, Will Anderson, for subscribing. Thank you, this guy, for subscribing. Thank you, Gabe McCaskey, for subscribing. Thank you, Expert Glitchy Fortnite, for subscribing. Thank you, Callan Throp, for subscribing. Thank you, Adrian Macri, for subscribing. Thank you, Thomas Gray, for subscribing. Thank you, Sheena Almont Madonna, for subscribing. Thank you, XXX Best Gamer XXX Gaming, for subscribing. And we're in the 2 subscribers count. Thank you, Jesse Egan, for subscribing. Thank you, Ender Army 12, for subscribing. Thank you, Carmen Sabiniano, for subscribing. Thank you, Veronica Gajdosova, for subscribing. Thank you, Christian Velez, for subscribing. Thank you, Demir Handelman. I know this guy in real life. Thank you, Seth Hills, for subscribing. Thank you, Lorcan Dunn, for subscribing. Thank you, Al Jake, for subscribing. Thank you. Oh, come on, scroll down. Thank you, Cookie Cat, for subscribing. Thank you, Mark_Bruh, for subscribing. Thank you, Only Bandit NL, for subscribing. Thank you, Simon, for subscribing. Very basic name. Thank you, Noah Azule, for subscribing. No, I'm sorry. Thank you, Ashley Finelli, for subscribing. Thank you, Groovy Juju, for subscribing. Thank you, the Chubb Project, for subscribing. Thanks, Master Gang, for subscribing. Thanks, Toxic Reese, for subscribing. Thank you, Rundle Astorga, for subscribing. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Alexia Corbett, for subscribing. Thank you, Vanilla Alien, aka Camden 2.0, for subscribing. Thank you, Mary Rebecca, for subscribing. Thank you, Liam Jones, for subscribing. Thank you, Nikki Babstock, for subscribing. Thank you, Lexi McLaughlin, for subscribing. Thank you, Drazen Francisco, for subscribing. Thank you, Zesk, that's not even a real thing. Thank you, the GTA, but thank you for subscribing anyways. Thank you, the GTA Masters Games, subscribing. Thank you, Diamond Master Builder, for subscribing. Thank you, Emir Alvarez, for subscribing. Thank you, Erica Nagy, for subscribing. Thank you, Rudlin V for subscribing. Thank you, Geometry Ramsey for subscribing. Thank you, Karen. Karen. Oh man, this doesn't fit with the Karen persona. Barn Grover for subscribing. Thank you, Jake Soto for subscribing. Thank you, Jimmy Petway for subscribing. Thank you, John Daryl Arzaga for subscribing. Thank you, Summer Harris for subscribing. Thank you, Mine Coeg for subscribing. Thank you, Rosem Thappa for subscribing. Thank you, Karim Kakak for subscribing. Thank you, Minecraft Gaming PE 32 for subscribing. Thank you, Tristan Fernstrom for subscribing. Thank you, Matthew Haller for subscribing. Thank you, Sammy Zavala for subscribing. Thank you, Louisa for subscribing. Thank you for Fuzzy Foam 9056 for subscribing. Thank you, Mr.Retro 8-bit for subscribing. Thank you, Scotty B. Berry for subscribing. Oh my god, water. Thank you, Sear Subello for subscribing. Thank you, Dylan Lim for subscribing. Thank you, Brandon Lachopa for subscribing. Thank you, Zaid Augustus for subscribing. Thank you, Mikio Norton for subscribing. Thank you, Tia Bixils, I don't know, for subscribing. Thank you, Mason Collins for subscribing. Thank you, The Diamond Rail for subscribing. Thank you, Extreme Gameplay for subscribing. Thank you, The Last Dick Bender Steve for subscribing. What I'm gonna do? Oh, thank you, Trevor Hardy. Appreciate it. Thanks for watching all the way up into Canada. Thank you, Angelina K. ONG for subscribing. Thank you, Halo Dude 9 for subscribing. Thank you, Ceci Man for subscribing. Thank you, Jania M for subscribing. Thank you, the OG Artiferia OG owner. How's it going? Thank you, Dark Reaper for subscribing. Thank you, Rebecca Rodriguez for subscribing. Thank you, bunch of mandarin symbols again. Thank you, Akiva Gruzman for subscribing. Means a lot. I'm gonna start doing 50 per row, 50 per page. Let's see. Oh, there. Okay, we're here. Matthew, thank you, Matthew Tatlock for subscribing. Thank you, Pamela Jeremiahs for subscribing. Thank you for your boy for subscribing. Thank you, Danj for subscribing. Thank you, Georgia Tragakes for subscribing. Thank you, Kelly Connell for subscribing. Thank you, Hello Unicorn 33 for subscribing. Thank you, Little Jimmy Minecraft for subscribing. Thank you, I'm Derp Turtle for subscribing. Thanks, Top 10 for subscribing. Thank you, Karina Hernandez for subscribing. Thank you, Somebody for subscribing. Thank you, Gary Skaggs for subscribing. Thank you, Maria Dickey for subscribing. Thank you, Maximore for subscribing. Thank you, Bright on Bros for subscribing. Thank you, Caden Stewart for subscribing. Thank you, for Andrea Webb for subscribing. Thank you, Gabe Anderson for subscribing. Thank you, Dan 41 for subscribing. Thank you, Maximiliano Damaso for subscribing. Thank you, A Plays for subscribing. Thank you, Lisa B for subscribing. I think I know her in real life. I think if I'm thinking of the right one, yeah. Thank you, Kashk Eleshva. Thank you, 777 Joshua 777. Thank you, Sarah Hamilton for subscribing. Thank you, Bryce and his family vlogs for subscribing. Thank you, Cassie Schmelzinger for subscribing. Thank you, Jernan Baker for subscribing. Alright, next one. Thank you, Abram Guerra Ospino for subscribing. Thank you, Anime Ash for subscribing. Thank you, Toast Boys for subscribing. Thank you, The Gaming Beast 101 Fat Walrus for subscribing. Thank you, Kyle Rachard for subscribing. Thank you, Lightning Blaze for subscribing. Thank you, Prankiats Ali for subscribing. Thank you, Eleanor Tremontas for subscribing. Appreciate it. Thank you, Elijah Richards. Thanks, Dan Goodwin. Thanks, Juan, for subscribing. Thank you, Juan Jose Milan for subscribing. Thank you, Quentin Nichols for subscribing. Thank you, Lewin Smith for subscribing. Thank you, Liam Osborne for subscribing. Thank you, Hold on. Thank you, Summer Storm for subscribing. Thank you, Kenzie Jade for subscribing. Thank you, Bridget Burgett for subscribing. Thank you, Justin Ferrer for subscribing. Thank you, Morgan Beck, for subscribing. Thank you, Anna Lunick, for subscribing. Thank you, BGN underscore Dillian, for subscribing. Thank you, Paint Plays, for subscribing. Thank you, Florencio Cordero, for subscribing. Thank you, Blake McLomore, for subscribing. Thank you, Velisco Gaming KM, for subscribing. Thank you, Anis or Tony or Tanny, for subscribing. Thank you, the Skit Films, for subscribing. Thank you, I am just a cute puppy, for subscribing. Thank you, Arthur underscore Gamer, for subscribing. Thank you, Renee Bennett, for subscribing. Thank you, Kawaii Ender, for subscribing. Thank you, Michael Newton, for subscribing. Thank you, Dog Lover, for subscribing. Thank you, Finboy William, for subscribing. Thank you, Connor Stewart, for subscribing. Thank you, Garrett Lowe, for subscribing. Thank you, Belissa Evans, for subscribing. Thank you, Malik D, for subscribing. Thank you, Fionn Mayhegan, for subscribing. Thank you, Sad Gamer, for subscribing. Thank you, Jennifer Abney, for subscribing. Thank you, Kingdom Craft 123 Gamer, for subscribing. Thank you, Clifton Warner, for subscribing. Thank you, Erie Faye, for subscribing. Thank you, Allison773, for subscribing. Oh my god. Thank you, Cole Smith, for subscribing. Thank you, Javier Chavez, for subscribing. Thank you, June Caddies, for subscribing. Thank you, Shival Rupnarin, for subscribing. Thank you, B-Man Jacksepticeye, for subscribing. Holy crap. Okay. We're done with 350. That's literally... Let me do the math. That is insane. That's like a sixth. I'm sixth of the way through. Alright, we're changing the music at least. You guys must be really annoyed by this. That's a hype song. Alright, thank you, Yasmin Airlab, for the subscribe. Thanks, Phase HD, for the subscribe. Thank you, Erica Shea, for the subscribe. Thank you, Link the Master, for the subscribe. Thank you, Ariel W, for the subscribe. Thank you, Kenny E, for the subscribe. Thank you, Arian B, for the subscribe. Thank you, A Tokawa, for the subscribe. Thank you, Finlay Moorcroft, for the subscribe. Thank you, Prince FFA, for the subscribe. Thank you, Megan Booth, for the subscribe. Thank you, Muhammad Melhem, for subscribe. Thank you, Carlos Milkale, for subscribe. Thank you, Sean Jenkins, for the subscribe. Thank you, Ryan Gaming 601, for subscribe. Thank you, Ed Marino, for subscribing. Thank you, the Gamer Pro Alexis, for subscribing. Thank you, the KM Kaiser, for subscribing. Thank you, Kylo Ren, for subscribing. Thank you, Charisma, for subscribing. Thanks, Cesar Lopez, for subscribing. Thank you, Facts You Didn't Know, for subscribing. Thank you, Austin and Alex, for subscribing. Thank you, Relics underscore Gamer and Dirty South Productions 18, both for subscribing. Thank you, Eunice, Iris Sangcap. Thank you, Gracie Lamona. Thank you, Giant Baby One Young, for subscribing. Thank you, Kaishan Matashkvis, for subscribing. Kashkamod, for subscribing. Thank you, Roblox Robin, for subscribing. Thank you, Dakota Perry, for subscribing. Thank you, Mr. Sullivan, for subscribing. Thank you, DPX Ghost, for subscribing. Thank you, Anya Squires, for subscribing. Thank you, Crare Poingan, Penguin, Penguin, for subscribing. Thank you, Raymond Carrasco, for subscribing. Thank you, Chris Ambrosek, for subscribing. Thank you, Justin Urlings, for subscribing. Thank you, Ari, for subscribing. Thank you, Bob, for subscribing. Thank you, Christina CS, for subscribing. Thank you, Wing Gaming Show, for subscribing. Thank you, the Yellow Minecraft Cookie, for subscribing. Thank you, Jason Buckham, for subscribing. Thank you, Martin D, for subscribing. Thank you, Mickey Nason, for subscribing. Thank you, Tiny Dragon 15, for subscribing. Thank you, Maduri Segal, for subscribing. Thank you, Hero Dark Ray LP Gods, for subscribing. Thank you, Ewan McElwain. Really appreciate it, for subscribe, bro. Alright, all of you, really. Thank you, Canderson, for subscribe. Candy. Thank you, Dave Peterson, for the sub. Thank you, Borovic David, for the sub. Thanks, Kiera Johnson for the sub. Thanks Gamerboy23651 for the sub. Thank you Arctic Wolf Twins for the sub. Thank you the Toy Star for the sub. Thanks Stephen Parsons for the sub. Thank you Bengal McAllister for the sub. Thanks Tori Ward for the sub. Thanks Epic Vlogs and Games for the sub. Thanks Track and Smack, whatever that means, for sub. Thanks Elias Pence XD for the sub. Thank you Danielle Graybill for the sub. Thank you Melissa Peppers for the sub. Thank you Vladimir Markleen Georgii for the sub. Thank you Brian Parmenter for the sub. Thank you Wissay Fazel for the sub. Thank you Julie _Talks HD Let's Player for sub. Thanks Curtis Westall for the sub. Thank you Shaky Rug 209 for the sub. Thank you Makio Vlogs for the sub. Thank you Owen Gauchi for the sub. Thank you Junebug for the sub. Thank you Marco T for the sub. Thank you Aiden Berry for the sub. Thank you Valkyrie Rose for the sub. Thank you Aliye Murtaj Karal for the sub. Thank you Hussein Omar for the sub. Thank you Cat for the subscribe. Thank you Radicat for the sub. Really cool guy. Thank you Chris Angels for the sub. Thank you Cool Hair for the sub. Thank you Derp Games YT for the sub. Thank you Michael McAllister for the sub. Thank you Simona Chris Ale for the sub. Thank you Abram Guerra for the sub. Thank you the Fishhead88. That is a massive fucking meme, dude. Thank you Chris the Helian for the sub. Thank you Angel Santiago Madrid Sanchez for the sub. Thank you Penguin Craze for the sub. Thank you Mr. Brick for the sub. Thank you First Name Last Name for the sub. Thank you Kelvin Davidson for the sub. Thank you Spoon64 for the sub. Thank you Jaden B Gaming for the sub. Thank you Chrissy Lay for the sub. Thank you Den Finn for the sub. Thank you Little Mexican Idiot for the sub. Thanks Dimitri Paulus for the sub. Oh my god, I am like almost a third of the way there. Thank you Edward Felix T for the sub. Thanks ZipKid 64 for the sub. Thank you Emerald Dimensions for the sub. Thank you Donna Owens for the sub. Thank you Oscar Romero. Thank you Anthony Carnell. Thank you K8SHV ADIWJJ for the sub. Thank you AH70 Z2 Time for the sub. Thank you Noel Coulter for the sub. Thank you The Last Gen Gamer for the sub. Thank you Ryan A for the sub. Thank you IPS Lover Swag. I don't know why I'm having so much fucking trouble right now. Thank you Death Striker DS for subscribing. Thank you FaZe Fish Slayers for subscribing. Thank you Mad Team Marwex for the sub. Thank you Bankroll Gaming for the sub. Thank you X Joshua Gamer 10X for the sub. Holy crap. Thank you to People's Play 101 for the sub. Thank you Edsel Della Rosa for the sub. Thank you Gerardo Garcia for the sub. Thank you Chev for the sub. Just Chev for the sub. Thank you Root Lopez for the sub. Thank you Jomoni Thomas for the sub. Thank you YouTube is Fun for the sub. Thank you Ninja Tyler for the sub. Thank you Mackenzie Guest for the sub. Thank you OBM Mackenzie Guest 33035. I just dropped my cap. Alright. Thank you OBM Productions for the sub, if I didn't already say that. Thank you IPS BRE for the sub. Thank you David Vlogs for the sub. Hold on. Thank you Human Derp Gang for the sub 101 for the sub. Thank you J-Man Vlogs for the sub. Thank you Catherine Hubbard for the sub. Thank you QT Pie 101 for the sub. Thank you Lori for the sub. Thank you Ryan Ahmed for the sub. Thank you Hattie J for the sub. Thank you BMX Story Gaming for the sub. Thank you Cubeson for the sub. Keeps in Ford for the sub. Thank you, Pages World, for the sub. Thank you, Crystal Rays, for the sub. Thank you, Railfan, for the sub. Thank you, James W8233, for the sub. Thank you, King Fernape 2001 for the sub. Thank you, Ghost TV, for the sub. Thank you, Trev, for the sub. Thank you, Amer Krogan, for the sub. Thank you, Gwen, for the sub. Thank you, YOLO Slays, for the sub. Thank you, Wildly, YOLO Slays Wildly. Okay, cool. Thank you, it's like you copy and paste that. Thank you, Stefan Latuka, for the sub. Thank you, J. Ferguson, for the sub. Thank you, Erwin Moniz, for the sub. Thank you, Dimp992, for the sub. Thanks to Mio, for the sub. Thank you, Ali Star, for the sub. Stare, for the sub. Thank you, Mr. Bronoff, for the sub. Thank you, Gamer XXL, for the sub. Thank you, QT Allo. Use code Zandro for the sub. Thank you, Anil, for the sub. Thank you, Muhammad Amin, for the sub. Thank you, the awesome channel, for the sub. Sound pretty awesome if you're following me. Thank you, Baron the Wolf. I'm such a freaking loser, man. Such a freaking loser. Okay, thank you, Baron the Wolf, for following me. Thanks, Jordan Hooper, for subscribing. Thanks, Luca, for subscribing. Thanks, Captain Skyshine, for subscribing. Thank you, Pro Gamer Tom, for subscribing. Thank you, Lil Bro Bree, for subscribing. Thank you, Mage Enderman, for subscribing. Thank you, Sorutski, for subscribing. Thank you, Iron Bulldog Gaming, for subscribing. Oh my god. Alright. Thank you, Daisy Grace, for subscribing. Thank you, Monster Gaming Vlog, for subscribing. Thank you, Chloe Wilson, for subscribing. Thank you, It's Blitz OG, for subscribing. Thank you, Skylar Young, for subscribing. Thank you, Gaming Reaper, for subscribing. Thank you, Harley Hawksworth, for subscribing. Thank you, Nikki McCansky, for subscribing. Thank you, EA Fazo Topic, for subscribing. Thank you, Master Reviewer, for subscribing. Thank you, Sophia Mayo, for subscribing. Thank you, Tree_Gaming, for subscribing. Thank you, Mark Alexander Larouche, for subscribing. Thank you, Nala G, for subscribing. Thank you, Calio Plays, Calio_88 Plays MC. Oh my god, dude. Thank you, Verdo Soul, for subscribing. Thank you, XX Hyper YTXX, for subscribing. Thank you, Apple Macachpaz, for subscribing. Thank you, Kanga, for subscribing. Thank you, Nightwings, for subscribing. 1213. Thank you, Toxic Videos, for subscribing. Thank you, 2K2 Lakers, for subscribing. Thank you, Hypa Beast, CSGO channel. Alright, that's pretty tempting, but okay, anyways, thank you, Potato Lover, for subscribing. Thank you, That Lesbian You Thought Was an American, for subscribing. Thank you, DJ Kawas, for subscribing. Thank you, Sonic Pro, for subscribing. 7809, sorry guys. Thank you, Jacob Walson, for subscribing. Thank you, God Sniper YT, for subscribing. Thank you, Kevin Derrick, for subscribing. Thank you, Solar Tree, for subscribing. Oh my god, there's so many more of them. We're not even halfway. Thank you, Alberto GR9, for subscribing. Thank you, Ake Stockholm, for subscribing. Thank you, Mini Min's Productions, for subscribing. Thank you, Heathens, for subscribing. Thank you, Andrex, for subscribing. Thank you, Matthew DeFuria, the homie, for subscribing. Thank you, Kyle, for subscribing. Thank you, Dragon Studio, for subscribing. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Alex H, for subscribing. Thank you, Avon Dream, for subscribing. Get out of here. Thank you, Tattoo Dobem, subscribing. Oh my fucking god, dude. Do I really have to leave? I'm literally gonna have to mute. I'm literally gonna have to mute the channel. No, 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 no. No, no, no. Mute server. There we go. Alright, let's get back to it. Thank you, Jared Bauer, for subscribing. Thank you, Domo and Mr. M for subscribing. Thank you, Haitian Rice for subscribing. Thank you, John for subscribing. Thank you, Chow.wawa for subscribing. Thank you, Asian Kid for subscribing. Thank you, Plain Rock 127 for subscribing. Thank you, Solar Frost for subscribing. Thank you, Rax for subscribing. Thank you, Tyler Kill 67, JCT MF for subscribing. Thank you, Big Luigi Fan for subscribing. Thank you, Arctic Lexi for subscribing. Thank you, Tano for subscribing. Thank you, Cuddly for subscribing. Thank you, Subscriber Central for subscribing. One for subscribing. Thank you, Back to the Movie subscribing. Thank you for Austin Challenges with 48.6k. You guys are just. Why are you guys following me?
Guys, I am giving away a $10 Robux gift card every...
Dude, if you ever want to do a collab, I am all ears. Okay. Thank you guys for subscribing. And that's it. That's literally it. That is a shtick. Thank you guys all for subscribing. I guess I was more than halfway. That's cool. Thank you guys all for subscribing. I really fucking appreciate it, dude. I really appreciate it. Like, if you're subscribing, that's chill. If you're new to the channel and like your thing didn't show up, tell me if it didn't show up. Comment below if your channel didn't show up, and I will reply to that comment. And I will thank you separately because you deserve the equal chance to be thanked. Yeah. Please subscribe if you enjoyed this or enjoy any of my content. It's free, and you can take it back anytime you want. Thank you so much for my followers and my future followers / subscribers. I really appreciate it. Do have a great day, and see you, dude.